How's it, folks? Timbo here. I wanted to make a video talking about legendary tempers and their drop rates. So I've seen a lot of talk going around in some of the guilds I'm in, zone chat, and just in general about the price of stacks of unrefined material. So that would be ruby ash, ancestor silk, rubido hide scraps, rubidite ore, those things, to see if they're worth the price they're going for. So you'll see a lot of them selling for between 10 and 20,000. Not just the top tier materials, but also the lower ones like raw maple and jute and iron. Even the lower ones selling between 10 and 20,000, which I found really interesting. So the logic behind this is that you buy a stack of one of those materials, and you refine them, and you have a chance to get a legendary temper from them. Your chance really, in my experience, is only really good if you have all of the points in the passive that increases your chances of getting materials when you deconstruct or refine something. So if you have points in that, if you have that maxed out, then yeah, your chances are decent. So you see these materials selling for between 10 and 20,000. Is that worth it when you have the value of a tempering alloy, being about 10,000 right now? Yeah, you see a stack of rubidite ore selling for 20,000. So this assumes that you're going to get two tempers from this, right? Two legendary tempers, because if it's selling for 20,000 and the going rate on tempering alloys is about 10,000 right now, then you should get two for it to even out, right? But from my experience, that's not the drop rate, and I think the general consensus now is that you usually get about one legendary temper per stack of 200, assuming that you have all of the passive maxed out, you have all of the all of the perks necessary to increase your chance to get them. So if you're only getting one per stack of 200, then it wouldn't really be worth it to buy it for 20,000. And this is even more true for the clothier and woodworking materials, because those only are selling the legendary tempers for those are only selling for about 5,000-6,000. So if you're only going to get one per stack of 200, then a stack of those should only be selling for 5,000 or 6,000. Yet they're going for the same price as the heavy armor ones, the rubidite. They're going for also between 10 and 20,000. So for this to be worth it, you'd have to get 4 legendary tempers from a stack of 200 for it to be worth it. Now this is assuming that you're only valuing the legendary tempers. You get a lot more than just legendary tempers when you refine something, as you can see from the video playing in the background, that you get the epic tempers a lot more frequently than the legendary tempers. You get the blue level superior tempers and the green tempers, and then you get all the trait gems, and then you also get the refined material itself, which you could actually sell for a good amount. But we're not talking about those today. People don't buy the stack of unrefined materials to get the trait gems and the other tempers. They buy them to get the legendary tempers. So we're gonna see if that's worth it. So in the first part of the video, I had 1,300 ruby ash, and I ended up getting 5 rosin from them. So 1,300, that's 130 refines. Got 5 rosin, so that's about 4% drop rate. Then here I did 1,100 ancestor silk. I got 5 drew wax. That's about a 5% drop rate. So that's 110 refines for 5 drew wax. And then you'll see here that out of the 700 rubido scraps, I end up getting 5 drew wax, which is about a 7% drop rate, which is pretty good. A little bit above the perceived average. The perceived average right now is about 1 per stack of 200, so about 1 per 20 refines, so it's about 5%. So a little bit above the perceived average. And then in this part, you'll see that I refined 1,300 rubido ore, and I ended up getting 11 temper and alloy, which is about an 8% drop rate, which is way above the perceived average. So, is it worth it then? Buying those, buying the stacks of unrefined material? Yes and no. It's worth it if you have all of the passives, all the necessary passives to increase your chance of getting a temper when you refine something. And it's also worth it if you are buying it for a price that is somewhere on par with the price of a legendary temper. So, for example, if a tempering alloy is going for about 10,000 right now, I wouldn't buy a stack of unrefined ore for maybe a couple thousand over that. And I say a couple thousand over because you're also going to get all of the refined rubidite, which can be sold. You're going to get purple, blue, and green tempers as well, which can also be sold. And then you're going to get the trade gems, which are a little harder to sell. I have stacks and stacks of trade gems just sitting in my bank because they're just difficult to sell. People don't buy them that much. If they do, they buy them in maybe stacks of like 10, because they're making a new set or something. So when you have a large number like you get from refining this much raw material, it's not worth it too often. So I wouldn't buy them for more than what the price of a legendary temper is, maybe a couple thousand above. And then in this last clip, you'll see that from 1200 rubidite ore, I only included the end of the clip here, the last 30 seconds, but from 1200 rubidite ore, I only get 4 temper and alloy, which is a 3% drop rate. So, that's way below the average. So you got to remember that this is all RNG, guys, random number generator. So sometimes you have a good day, sometimes you have a bad day. It's RNG. Just, pray to RN Jesus that you get lucky and you get a bunch of tempers. Don't jump off a cliff or anything because you had a bad refined day. Alright, well, that's it, folks. Get refining.